And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. What a busy weekend. Baseball season is over. The Broncos play tonight, and we saw a bunch of ugly Americans at the Ryder Cup, and we saw a bunch of ugly, ugly people at the CU game in the stands. Other than that, I can't think of anything that's really going on. Oh, by the way, Nuggets Media Day today.
Yeah, absolutely, because we need one more thing to go on. Do you think that we'll hear anything about potential changes coming out of 20th and Blake today after finishing 43 and 119, 50 games, 5-0 behind the Los Angeles Dodgers?
You hope so. You hope this has been in the works for a while to have a plan moving forward. We knew by 2 months into the season this was going to be a bad baseball team, a historically bad baseball team. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. In the meantime, I want to tell you about the Sportsbook Bar and Grill, now in Parker, starting on Wednesday, October 1st. I've told you about the great locations in the DTC and Highlands Ranch. I've spent a lot of time in both. Cannot wait to see that new location in Parker. Fully expecting there what we've seen at the other two locations. Outstanding food, great drink specials, amazing place to watch games. Remember that the Sportsbook Bar and Grill was built by some owners, Jeremy and Judson, who are huge sports fans. So it's kind of like if you built a sports bar, what would it look like? It would look exactly like how they built it. And that's what is so stinking cool about it. Go check out the Sportsbook Bar and Grill. You can find them in the DTC, Highlands Ranch, and coming soon to Parker on Wednesday. Time now for The Lead.
The Lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Hey, Bruce, Broncos need to beat the Bengals tonight with the Eagles on tap this upcoming Sunday. So let's look at what happened yesterday. Does the Giants win over the Chargers, moving the Chargers record or dropping the Chargers record to 3-1, and the Chiefs' decisive win over the Ravens, although the Ravens are all beat up on defense. At the end of the day, it was a blowout. The Chiefs' record is now 2-2. Raiders lost again, no surprise there. But with that, with the Chargers loss and the Chiefs win, is this as much of a must-win as we had been talking about all week now that the Chargers have fallen back a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think it is a must-win. Mathematically, probably not, but you can go beyond just the single dimension of metrics. You know, the importance of confidence to a football team, getting something done, playing well while you're doing it. I would argue that not only winning the game is important, but playing well and winning the game is important. And I know it's your goal every time out, but you really want to be able to play well and start to meld these three phases of football that they just haven't been able to get together on the same page through the first 3 weeks. So I think it's an extremely important game, and especially when you consider that they're going to Philadelphia next week. I mean, you know, you don't put the cart before the horse, one thing at a time. We understand that. But yeah, I think it's a very big game, no question about it.
You and I talked about it last week, and maybe we have a difference of opinion. This is a tipping point for the entire season. It just is. You lose this game tonight, I don't expect them to win in Philadelphia. Suddenly you are 1-4. So you have 5 games down. You have 12 to go, and that means you got to win 9 of 12. And that's going to be a tall order. You have to win the games you are, in theory, supposed to win. Because if you don't, then you have to win a game, in theory, you're not supposed to win.
Yeah, absolutely. For them to be 2-2 at this point, at the quarter pole, right? The mystical quarter pole that Sean loves to talk about. The timing would be good. I mean, Sean talks about it all the time. How are we at the quarter pole? How is everyone else at the quarter pole? You start to understand what you have with your team. Well, what better time to have some understanding about your team by them playing well at a time when you are a quarter of the way through the season.
Here, let me just throw this at you. Sean
Sure.
has talked a lot about getting off to a fast start.
Mm-hmm.
And historically, his teams have rarely done that.
Right.
Historically speaking, let's say they win tonight. Is that a fast start, 2-2?
I don't think it's a fast start. It's a faster start than 1-3. Yeah.
Oh no, I get that.
Well, it's not a. I mean, you know the answer when you ask the question.
No, I don't. No.
I mean,
no. It's not that I know the answer to it.
It's a faster start if you play really well tonight. If you play really well tonight and are sitting there at 2-2 with 2 1-point losses, you can spin it a little bit more positively. But I think you got to play well. There are degrees of win, and I hate degrees of wins, but I think that the Broncos are there. Yes, they need to win, but I do think that they need to play well in winning. And I think they need to play well for some of the reasons that we've already talked about. I mean, you've just got to start to play complementary football at some point, or you're not going to be competitive or in positions to win against the Philadelphias and the at Washingtons and the, at Kansas Cities that you're going to be playing. You got to be able to start playing well, and you got to be able to play clean. They got to play cleanly tonight, I think. You can't have 9 or 10 penalties. You can't be on the negative side of turnovers. So there are some benchmarks that I think that they need to get to tonight.
2-2 is not a fast start. It's not a slow start either.
Right.
It's an average start. 500 record. But when you dig deeper on those 2 losses, and then you look at the Titans game as well, but those were not Picassos. Those were finger paintings in a lot of way. So do you take into account how they played as well, besides just looking at their record? And let's say they beat the Bengals by a couple of touchdowns. I think that would be great. However, you know what I want to see as well? See, I don't know which way I want this game to go in a win. Do I want them to blow them out? Talking about the Broncos blowing out the Bengals? Yeah, it'd be great to see everything come together. But if they blow them out, it still doesn't answer a question that we've been asking. Can the Broncos win a 1-score game?
What if they play well winning a 1-score game? Does that help you more?
You're not going to, well, you're not playing well winning a 1-score game. And here's the reason why. If the score is 16-13, your offense didn't do its job.
Right.
The defense did.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it unfolds and then make our assessments. But the next step towards getting to a better start is winning this game tonight, period. And playing well and winning this game tonight. And I think that the Broncos are entirely capable, and I would expect them to do that tonight. I think that this game sets up well for them. I know the Bengals are going to be far more competitive than they were last week in Minneapolis. To me, that's a no-brainer. I mean, they're not going to be 38 points worse than the Broncos. They also scored 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. So, and Jake Browning will play better tonight, period. He's had a whole week to prepare. I mean, he will play better. So, I think the challenge is pretty clear for what the Broncos need to accomplish tonight to get up tomorrow morning and feel good about who they are and where they're going.
Selfishly, and I believe I'm going to speak for you as well on this, okay, although sometimes I try not to speak for you.
Good idea.
But I know one thing is fact that you cannot dispute. You did not grow up in Denver, and I did not grow up in Denver. I need the Broncos to play well tonight. I need the Broncos to win decisively tonight. I need the Broncos to win tonight because I don't want any fucking phone calls from friends and relatives telling me how bad the Broncos are because they just watched them on national television when I told all of these friends and family members the Broncos, at least I thought, were going to be pretty good this season. So do me a favor for
It's
my
about
own
you.
ego
I
and
like
my own
it.
sanity. I don't want my phone blowing up. So guys, go out there and take care of business and win a 2-score game.
There you go. I can't think of a better reason to play well and win a football game than to take care of your phone rates and your call
Well,
rates.
don't you get
coming
phone
into there.
calls
No.
every once in a while or texts
No.
from people? I
Well,
do.
I don't know. I mean, I will every now and then I will get a, hey, what do you think about where the Broncos are at this point? But no, I don't think, because I'm not talking to anyone at this point that is ready to throw out the baby with the bathwater as it relates to the Broncos. I think people are generally still taking a wait and see attitude about the Broncos, especially in the manners in which they lost. I mean, yeah, you can talk about, they can't finish, they can't do this, but I mean, what would the narrative have been if they had won those games and still not played well? We've talked about that ad nauseum. They still wouldn't have played well, and they'd be 3-0 at this point. Well, okay.
I like it when people call or text and say, "What happened to your team?"
Yeah.
My answer is always the same. Did you see me out there?
Yeah.
I had no control over it. Okay. I didn't play.
I'm not in short yardage situations. So
no. With that, how good do you feel about the Broncos going into tonight's game?
I feel good. I mean, I do. But I have felt good about the Broncos really from jump. I maybe was a little hesitant about them going to Indianapolis, but then I thought that they played pretty well not defensively, but I thought that they, had kind of started to figure some things out offensively, and then they took another step back in LA against the Chargers. So I still feel good about the matchup and the challenge tonight. I do think that they're the better football team. I think that they will win. They've won 6 straight games at home. I think they'll make it 7. I do think that they'll play better. I don't know if they'll play well, but I think my confidence level is, I'm probably coming in at about 7 right now. This is the first step back towards getting the Broncos on the right track. Not so much a winning and losing track as much as it is hey, we can play well so that we can play at a high level so we can be a playoff team with the possibility of winning playoff games.
Over the last 2 weeks, the Broncos have been like a drive-through at 2 o'clock in the morning. As you're waiting in line, you're feeling pretty good about your decision. You're pretty excited about it, like going into a Broncos game. I don't know, against the Colts, against the Chargers. You're feeling pretty good as you're sitting in that line, waiting to order something. You're feeling pretty good about the game as it's getting ready to unfold. And then when the game is over, it's like after going to that drive-through. A couple hours later, after you've plowed all that food down your gullet, you're thinking, boy, this doesn't feel good at all because now I feel sick at 3:30 in the morning. And that's how it has felt following both of those games.
Yeah, no question about it. And that even gets to our discussion about ways that you win. Not all wins are created equally, and the Broncos are in a place now where they need to play well in a win. I'll repeat myself, and and to me, that's the theme tonight.
So it's not just a win. Hey, listen, it's the NFL. Any given Sunday, the margins are so small.
The margins are small. Yeah, the margins are small.
They need to win convincingly.
I hate it when you're dismissive about that. The margins are small, but I will say this. There is important. Look, the most important thing is winning the football game, period. You know it. I know it. We all know that. You got to win the football game because then you've got another week to figure out how to get better. You feel a lot better tonight if you win and play well in winning. All of the things that we haven't seen through 3 weeks, do we suddenly see them tonight? Do they make some plays on special teams that are game-changing in a positive fashion? Are they able to get off the field on 3rd down? Are they able to be effective on first and second downs, so their average starting position on third down isn't 3rd and 11 as it was in the game in LA against the Chargers. There are some real things that we can see that would be really solid progress if they were to happen tonight for the Broncos.
This is the only thing that I truly think hurts the Broncos offense potentially. And I say potentially, and I sure as heck hope this doesn't happen. I've said more than a few times that I think sometimes Sean Payton's ego gets in the way. Bo Nix is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the next 2 years. So how about in the opener, I throw it all on his shoulders against the Titans, not really run the ball to show everybody how great Bo Nix is. Is that fair to say sometimes for Sean, his ego gets in the way. He wants to put in personnel packages on first down, and then he changes it out for second down, and then he changes it out for third down. Look at all my great formations, and look at these play calls, and look how smart I am.
Sean's pretty smart, and he doesn't mind showing it.
Well, what worries me is, for as much as he may have learned over the first 3 games that maybe he needs to dial it back a little bit, now the game's on national television for everybody to see. And I'm wondering if Sean gets suckered into that. And he's played plenty of games on national television. It's not like this is his first one. But sometimes Sean just cannot help himself.
Well, we'll find out about, he's been very good in his run-pass ratio in each of the last 2 games. It was egregious, especially the first half against the Titans in the opener. So, I can't imagine the goal is anything short of what we've already talked about, win and play well doing it. If there's any other motivation that is even remotely that could be deemed as selfish that's not productive at this particular point.
I understand the Broncos are playing a professional NFL defense that is not good at all. Bo Nix comes into this game with major opportunities to throw the ball. If he plays a really good game, do you think the narrative could be, well, look who he played against? Or is there reason for optimism that this sophomore slump was only 3 games?
Yeah.
Or not 3 games, really 2 games.
Yeah. I resist the term slump, but I understand slow start. Okay.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
I think okay, if it is, it is. No, I don't think it matters. I think that what matters is he plays well. The Baltimore Ravens are as bad defensively as the Bengals are.
They're not missing 7 defensive starters.
Well, they were missing some guys yesterday, and
no. Wait, hold on.
They're giving up 33 points a game.
Bruce,
the Baltimore Ravens are giving up 33 points a game.
They are devastated injury-wise. The Ravens are. Mm-hmm. The Bengals are not.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The Bengals are even better then.
They're not better.
They're in a better situation. Look, it doesn't matter to me, Eric. I don't care. It may matter to you, and that's fine. I would respect that point of view. I would disagree with it. Bo Nix just needs to go out and play well. And I have every expectation that Bo Nix will go out and play well.
What does playing well look like to you?
Winning the game and not turning the ball over, avoiding sacks, getting in front of the sticks on first and second down so you're in manageable situations in third down, being successful in the red zone, a good high percentage of points in trips to the red zone. If you take care of those things, then I think that you'll be in pretty good shape.
They look like a playoff team right now?
This moment, no. No.
Can it all change with 1 game?
Yeah. Can it all change with 1 game?
If they go out,
it's 4 games in.
If they go out, let me
finish.
Here's
the answer to the question.
Well, yes. I didn't finish my question, but go ahead.
Yes, I think it does change. I think it does. I think if you win and play well, you're still in that small sample size of 4 games. Then I think that your perception does change, especially when it started as a playoff team. They've backed up. I'm not going to argue 1 and 2. They don't look like a playoff team, but I think that they can look like a playoff team tonight, regardless of who they're playing.
Coming up after the break, the Rockies season is mercifully over. Is the plan in place to break out the broom today? And if no news comes out today or tomorrow or Wednesday, what the F? That's next.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or over $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings are every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Players can earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming players' points on their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, phenomenal promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
And welcome back. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Nola Jane in the heart of Lodo. No one does Cajun cuisine better than Nola Jane. Go see why their award-winning menu is the best in town.
Okay, Bruce, the Rockies season is over. They finished with a 43-119 record. This tied the 2003 Tigers for the 4th most losses in Major League Baseball history. You think this is a wake-up call for Dick Monfort to clean house? And if it is, when will this happen? Or do you think there's actually a possibility they bring the band back together?
I can't imagine that unless you tell me this is the Rockies. Right? I mean, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just saying I can't imagine that unless you tell me it's the Rockies, I do not see what that accomplishes at this point. Eric, the Houston Astros went through 3 straight seasons of losing 100 games, but their trend was pointing upwards.
Well, they had a plan.
They had a plan. They were moving forward with the plan. And look at what the plan has done for the Houston Astros and where they got to. The Rockies are in a situation where they're getting worse each year, and they've had 300 lost seasons. They're getting worse. You can make the argument without much pushback that this is the worst baseball team that has ever played in the big leagues. And people will say, well, they didn't have the worst record. Okay, by a couple of games, you're right. They didn't have the worst record. They have the worst run differential in the history of baseball by like 200 runs. It's not even close. It's not even, you don't even discuss it. They have the worst collective earned run average of any pitching staff in the history of baseball. I mean, there are all kinds of reasons why you could look at this team with a straight face and say, worst in baseball history. So this to me will be the ultimate, we'll learn the ultimate thing about Dick Monfort. If you keep getting banged over the head with a 2x4, is it okay to keep happening?
Well, it's the old saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten.
Exactly.
The question is, if Bill Schmidt does get fired, and I'm not someone who calls out someone to be fired until today. Seriously, if Bill Schmidt's family is listening, Bill's done a terrible job. Period. I'm sorry. I mean, this is historically bad. The question is, if they get rid of Bill Schmidt, how many more people do they replace as well? Is it just Bill, or does it go down the line? Do they go outside the organization? I know there are only 30 GM jobs in baseball, but I really don't think prospective GMs are lining up to take this job because Dick is looking over it. Dick wants some control over this, and he has every right to. It's just he's a great businessman. He's just not a good baseball man. You have been around sports longer than I have, and I'm over 35 years. We have lots of friends who are former players, coaches, GMs, executives. I want to read you a text I got from somebody who I've known for a while who used to be a GM in baseball.
Okay.
And I said, would you be interested in this job? And this is what he said to me. And I think this sums up how every potential candidate would feel. He said, I would love the opportunity to resuscitate this franchise, as I know I could win with a full cleanse and influx of new process, emphasis, and personnel. Transparent rebuild without bullshit and a game plan. That's the exact text that I got. If you allow someone to do their job and not have oversight at every corner, granted, Dick Monfort makes the final decision.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to hire someone who you are empowering to make the decision. Now, Dick has the final say, but Dick needs to step off and let that person do their job.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has the capacity to do that. He has not shown a willingness to want to think outside the box. And the box is a tough place for the Rockies to be right now. You know, we talked about Bill Schmidt, and he's the face of change, right? And this is not a personal thing. This is just have you done your job or have you not?
He's been with the team for 2 decades.
Right. I mean, in any other line of business, that position over the last 3 years would have been changed because of an inability to do their job effectively. It's the American way, for goodness sakes. So it will be well, I shouldn't say perplexing, because I have it in my mind that we're talking about the Rockies. So what would really surprise me as it relates to the Rockies? Would it surprise me more that they could clean house, sweep everyone out, or would it surprise me more that, oh, maybe someone gets reassigned here and reassigned there, and they just, try to, put different color lipstick on a pig and hope that it, that it flies? I don't think either would. I think probably the cleaning house would surprise me more, because Dick has never shown any indication or willingness to want to do that on any level.
They have a groupthink mentality in that organization. When Dan O'Dowd left the organization, they promoted Breitich. When Breitich got fired, they promoted Bill Schmidt. Stop promoting. Hire outside the organization. I'm saying things that people already know. But let that guy broom whoever he feels like it. And you know what? Well, he's not going to do this. I was going to say, if Sterling Monfort is part of that cleanse, then that's what it needs to be. However, I've heard great things about Sterling Monfort. I don't think he's going anywhere. I was told by somebody who has been around baseball, inside baseball, for a long time, Sterling Monfort is respected. He is. Inside baseball circles. As somebody said to me, he would get a job with another team. For Bill Schmidt, he's done. Think about this for a second. Dan O'Dowd probably had the opportunity to work in baseball again when he left the Rockies. He decided to go to MLB Network. I will never shit all over Dan O'Dowd. I know Dan well, full disclosure. Very bright baseball guy. But even he told me, he goes, it's really hard to build a winner consistently in Denver. Bill Guyvette never worked again in baseball after getting fired. Jeff Breitich never worked again in baseball after getting fired. Bill Schmidt sure as hell will never work again after he likely and hopefully will get fired. It's time to stop doing this and bring in somebody who brings in all of his own people, period. I mean, it shouldn't even be up for discussion anymore.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be up for discussion or debate.
And oh, by the way, please, Rockies, be smart about this. Although knowing them, this will be like a Friday 5 p.m. news dump, because that's how I think they'll approach it. Knowing them, they will fire, if they fire, Bill Schmidt, it'll be at probably around, 6:20 tonight, right before kickoff.
Do you think they'll do it? I mean, at the end of the day, here we are. And think about what it says about the Rockies, that we're even debating whether or not they will part ways with Bill Schmidt. I mean, think about what that means. It's ludicrous. Any other situation around baseball probably would have made that change during the season. But here we are now, postseason. Okay, this is the way you've chosen to do it. And we're still wondering whether or not they will make a change. I don't know. I just don't know.
Bruce, you have traveled overseas a lot. I have traveled overseas a considerable amount. Mm-hmm. You would never be accused overseas of being looked at as an ugly American.
I hope not.
I'm sure that is the case.
Right.
But the entire Ryder Cup, specifically Saturday, was an absolute embarrassment to the United States of America. The people who went out there, yes, you have a right to free speech, but it doesn't mean you need to be an asshole about it with television cameras and audio. It was such a sad day for this country on so many different levels. Forget it. It wasn't even about winning or losing. Just the behavior was abhorrent. But you know what may have topped it? Colorado fans, specifically the student section, saying what they were saying about people of the Mormon faith. I'm not going to say what has happened to our society, because we've seen it trending in this direction, but it's such a sad statement about who we are as a country that we think this is somehow acceptable.
The behavior in Boulder, I was not as familiar with as the shocking, even in New York, behavior that we saw at the Ryder Cup.
Well, you know what they were yelling in Boulder, right? Fuck you, Mormons. Terrible. That's a religion.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or if it was racial, listen, whether it's race or religion, they're both awful. But come on, man. You know what? I don't know if Deion, I'm not putting this on Deion.
Oh, no,
No. I'm not putting it on Deion, but I will tell you this. There have been coaches at basketball games who have gotten on the mic and said, this is not who we are. I really hope Deion did not hear this. I really hope he didn't, because if Deion would have said, stop it, everybody would have stopped it. That's the power of Deion Sanders. And believe me, I'm not accusing him of anything, but to have that in that stadium, come on. But getting back to the Ryder Cup, because both were awful.
The behavior at the Ryder Cup was, it was shocking and so disappointing.
Was it really shocking?
It was shocking to me that people could be so incredibly bereft of any kind of sportsmanship and appreciation for your opponents, for being hospitable as a host. I get cheering for your team. I get it. I get the USA chants. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm as patriotic as the next guy. I really am. But for goodness sakes, when the behavior of the fans goes beyond what's actually happening on the golf course and the results on the golf course, and it becomes a bigger story, something is wrong with the picture. And I think it's reprehensible. It is the worst view of, unfortunately, in some circles, what we have become collectively as Americans on an international stage. It really bothers me on a lot of levels.
I don't want to make this political, so I'm going to try and tap dance around it. Americans, I believe, are universally despised around this world.
It ain't good right now. That's
universally despised for what we are doing. It's a political thing with our allies, criticizing our allies, yet propping up strongmen and saying nice thing about strongmen. Trump is not 100% responsible for the discourse in this country. This has been going on for decades, but it's as high as I can remember as I'm approaching my 57th birthday.
When my wife and I travel to Europe or other places, and we have developed friendships, true warm friendships with people that we love to spend time with and that we value our relationships with, just for the difference, the perspective that they bring for the lives that they lead and stuff. And it's wonderful. America, and look, I'm not going to paint with a totally broad brush, but I will say this. We have gone from a point where the fascination with America and what it has represented for so many years internationally, freedom, liberty, all of the things that people think about the greatness of our country and what it was rooted in and what it is rooted in, and what to this day it remains rooted in. But now there is so much of a shift to the ugly American. And like I said, I don't want to paint with a broad brush because it's not across the board, but it is a significant change in point of view about what America is, who Americans are, especially on the international stage. And to see that kind of stuff happen, it's such a statement of the obvious to say there is absolutely no place for it. We should be ashamed of it collectively. But to your point, Eric, and it's head shaking, it's more the norm than it is the exception anymore. And that is troubling.
Think about this for a second. Could you imagine, Bruce, you are helping financially support someone, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, the United Nations, NATO, Israel, and I'm Jewish, by the way, and all of these other countries and organizations, our taxpayer dollars help fund so many countries in the world.
Right.
And we as a country are the biggest spenders to help. Yet we are so universally, for the most part, despised as of right now. So not like we have a choice where our tax dollars go. You know, you have politicians who care more about staying in office than honestly doing the right thing. And that is both sides of the aisle. But we indirectly are doing good things for other countries.
Yes.
Yet I'm wondering if a lot of people believe, well, because we're giving you money, we have a right to say whatever we want to.
I think it even goes beyond that. I just think people in the age of, and I mean, I'm not trying to just narrow it in, but in the age of social media where there is no accountability and you can say anything that you want without any fear of reprisal or accountability, there is a nastiness that continues to emerge that, and the accountability is there's no accountability for it. I mean, you can just be any kind of person that you want to be. And that is a bad thing, man. That's a really bad, dangerous thing.
I am a strong believer in free speech.
Sure.
Again, I am Jewish. I grew up in Northbrook, Illinois, North Shore, Chicago, right down the street from Skokie, Illinois, where I have a lot of relatives who lived there, where the Nazis marched. I had a major problem with Nazis marching in a neighborhood where there were a lot of Holocaust survivors. But I believe in free speech, and they had a right to do it, as much as I'm mashing my teeth saying that.
Understandable.
You have a right to say at a golf tournament, hey, fuck you, Rory. You have a right to say things about Rory's wife. You don't have a right to throw something at her.
No.
You have a right to say all that. But I'll ask you, if you see somebody who's overweight, you have a right to say you're a fat pig. But do you?
Well said. And those are kind of some of the questions that I think we need to ask ourselves. I'm talking collectively, as a society, as a culture in particular, and where we are right now. I mean, what's the political question that always seems to be asked every generation and has been? Are you better off now than you were 10 years ago?
Right.
Ask that question. Are we better off? Are we going in a direction as a people, and the way that we communicate? And I don't want to be accused of taking one thing, the Ryder Cup, and making too big of a deal out of it. I experienced that from afar on television, watching it. the stuff in Boulder, very disappointing to hear about. I didn't experience that. I didn't have any firsthand.
Bruce, can I cut you off real quick? What happened in Boulder was worse by far. It went after an entire religion.
Yeah.
It's worse. That is worse. You have a right to do it. You have a right to do it. Free speech. The question I'll ask you before we go is this, because it was the same question I asked my wife, and I will give you her answer. I said, if you were standing at a game, let's say you were in Boulder for the game, and there was somebody standing next to you drunk, yelling, F the Mormons, would you say something to that person? Yes. And her answer to me was, how big is he?
Well, knowing your wife, first of all, I don't think it matters how big he is.
She's
that's a funny answer.
I'm going to no pick a fight, you wee shite. I'll kick your arse. But what would you do? What would you do if you were standing next to somebody saying that? And it was a guy who was about 6'3", wasted, and 240. What would you do?
I would say something, because that to me is beyond the pale. I mean, I would obviously assess the situation and try to gain an understanding of what my bodily,
right,
what kind of damage could be. But I think that there are when you get into a situation like that, I think that you just owe it to people to do the right thing and to say the right thing, and at least to make someone think. The whole drunken thing changes things for me a little bit, because the total loss of inhibition that comes with that can be very dangerous. And we do live in a day and an age where people will just, and this is another sad thing, pull out a damn gun and just shoot you and say, yeah, sorry about that, and I'll take the repercussions. So yeah, I mean, I would be careful about it, but my normal inclination would be to say, hey, dude, what are you doing? Come on.
Here's the difference.
Can't we be better than that?
Here's the difference, and I'm talking about Colorado because we are a state where marijuana is legal. Here's the difference between alcohol and smoking weed and saying exactly what we are talking about. You say to somebody who's drunk, come on, stop that.
Yeah.
They're going to get in your grill.
Belligerent.
Even if you hand them another beer, they will be belligerent. They will slap that cup out of your hand. If somebody is stoned and saying that, all you have to say is, I have a couple of extra nachos and cheese. You want these if you stop talking? They'd be like, yeah, dude, that works for me. How about I buy you a slice of pizza if you stop talking? Yeah, man, that works for me.
Oh, God.
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.